Hey, this is Gerald with Bass Kicking Adventures. Today I wanted to show you one of my favorite fishing tips, and I've been doing it for a while and I've caught a bunch of bass off of it. Matter of fact, I caught a 7.5 pound bass, well, 7.4 pounds, just a couple days ago, and I was using this technique when I caught that bass. So what I do is I fish with a lot of plastic lures, rubber worms, and especially crawdads. When I use crawdads, I usually use one of the offset hooks that has the weight on the bottom like this. I just like the action that it gives a crawdad in particular with the way the weight sits in like this. So what I do is, let's just do the rubber worm first. This is a Culprit 7.5 tomato color. I've had a lot of luck with this particular colored worm. So what I do is I fish Texas rig. So, you just hook your worm up as usual. But my tip is, get you a night crawler. And take that hook right there. And put that night crawler on it. And leave enough of that night crawler tail where he can move around. All right, put your hook back in there and you're good to go. That right there, I promise you, will increase how many fish you catch. That night crawler obviously is giving it some, some good scent. The night crawler's moving around. And the night crawler stays on there pretty good. I mean, if you run it through some tree limbs or something, it may pull it off. But for the most part, that night crawler stays on there. So that is my tip of the year. If you like to fish with rubber worms or crawdads. Now the crawdad or anything with a rubber worm, I leave the point of the hook inside the worm. I know on a lot of baits, you'll pull that hook up like that. I don't do that with a rubber worm because the worm is not that thick and the hook comes out of the rubber worm pretty easy. Now on these crawdads, you have a thicker body. So what I do with these crawdads is, see, look at that night crawler moving around right there. Not only is it smell, but it's also a little bit more action for that rubber worm. So for the crayfish, crawdads, or whatever you like to call them, what I like to do is the same thing. Go ahead and you don't want to hook that worm too close to the end. You want that worm to move around. See, I've got I got about an inch on both sides, maybe a little longer, definitely longer, an inch on this side, for that worm to move around. So then I'll slide the worm up. I'll put the hook in. Now on these crayfish, you bring the hook out the other side, just like that. All right, you see right there? Now what I do is I get another piece of worm, and that exposed hook that comes out the other side of your plastic bait, I put worm right there. So on the crawdad, I put it on the top and bottom. Now that rig right there is exactly how I caught that 7-pound bass, 7.4 pound bass 2 days ago. Now that bass was caught off a different crawdad lure. This one here is the Berkley Power Bait Pit Boss 4-inch. These Power Bait Berkley lures, they have a pretty strong scent anyways, but I still put these worms on. The one that I caught that big bass on the other day was a crawdad made by Storm Lures. Now, when you fish with crayfish, I'm in North Carolina, it's kind of hard to get crayfish right now, so cold. But during the spring, summer, when they're out and they're easy to find, don't do the worm. Catch you a crawdad and tear the tail meat out of it and put the tail meat on this hook right here and put you a little piece up here on the exposed hook. And then you will have the best of all worlds. You'll have a realistic looking crayfish going through the water that smells like a crayfish, and it's going to be completely weedless. But night crawlers are easy to get your hands on. So night crawlers work perfectly fine on crawdads or rebel worms. So that is my #1 fishing tip to you, anybody that watches my videos, which I greatly appreciate. And speaking of my videos, if you would, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, comment down below. Give this a try. It will only help you, I promise you. And, I was just doing a quick demonstration here, but usually I have this whole hook right here covered with a worm. So anyways, appreciate you watching. Hope you have a great day, and I'll have more videos coming out soon. Thanks.